Today, I want to talk to you about being unstoppable. How do you become that person that is unstoppable? For everything that you have in your business, there's one thing in common, and that's you, the person behind it. You didn't start your business to work harder and to feel more stuck. You wanted freedom to do what you love doing, to make an impact with people, and to finally take control of your life. But instead, most of the time, you can feel yourself procrastinating, second guessing, and holding back, even when you know what to do. You tell yourself it's about needing a better system, more courses, more certifications, more followers. But it's not. The truth is, your biggest obstacle to your business plan is the hidden patterns that are running in the background of your mind. These patterns of fear, doubt, and perfectionism keep you trapped, avoiding the very actions that would grow your business. And today, I'm going to show you how to break free from those patterns, dissolve resistance, and step in a version of you who doesn't just start a business, but builds a life of unstoppable confidence, clarity, and freedom. See, I just didn't learn this from a book. I lived it. For almost 20 years, from 1999 to 2018, you're not going to find a single photo of me, not even a DMV photo. I went to extreme lengths to avoid being photographed, and it had a massive impact on my life. I skipped weddings, holidays, special events, and in business, it cost me a lot of opportunities. Back then, I was an interior designer, and I had 2 projects featured in Architectural Digest. Now, that should have been the pinnacle of recognition in my field, but I refused to be in the photo spread. Imagine that, a career-defining moment, and I made myself invisible. It wasn't just a problem, it was a pattern. And then cell phones turned into cameras and social media became a thing. And suddenly everything in life now required being in pictures. But I couldn't even take a selfie. It became my not so secret. I tried to fix it. I lost weight. I got new clothes. I worked out. I even had 2 hair transplants. But the harder I tried, the worse my anxiety became. Because what I thought was the problem, not being able to take a photo, wasn't really the problem. It was the solution to a much bigger problem that I had. But I kept pushing myself to do more. The real struggle wasn't really in my actions, but it was in the hidden programming driving my reactions. The problem wasn't visibility, it was what visibility represented: danger, exposure, rejection. But one day, a coach asked me a simple question that cracked open a memory when I was 5 years old. My mother had been in a terrible car accident and was hospitalized for 4 months, and no one would let me see her. Now, as an adult, I understand they were trying to protect me, but the 5-year-old me didn't understand. I felt abandoned, powerless, and completely alone. And in that moment, I made a decision. I'm alone. Nobody will protect me, and I can't trust anyone. And that decision quietly shaped my entire life. Failed relationships. Both my parents died in my early 20s. Family feuds and betrayals. At one point, I even lost my best friend, my job, and my apartment, all in the same month. And each one of these experiences just reinforced that old belief that I'm alone. And here's the kicker. Consciously, I knew I wasn't alone, but my unconscious mind was still running that same outdated code written by a scared 5-year-old boy. My fear of being photographed, that wasn't a problem. That was my unconscious mind solution, a way to stay unseen so I wouldn't risk rejection. But here's the real question. What part of your business are you still resisting? Even though you know it could change everything. Is it not showing up online, not making an offer, asking for a sale? You already know what to do, but something inside you keeps putting on the brakes. It's not laziness, it's conditioning. Old patterns silently deciding how visible, how successful, and how free you're allowed to be. When I discovered my own core belief, I finally started to see the pattern. Mindset helped me move forward. I started showing up even when I was scared. But after a while, that old resistance found new places to hide, staying quiet in conversations, turning down events, saying, I'm too busy. I was still playing small, just in a more sophisticated way. That's when I realized the resistance wasn't in my mind, it was in my body. My nervous system had learned to associate visibility with danger. No amount of mindset could override that. I could push through with willpower for a while, but eventually I burned out, which only gave me more evidence that I was alone. Here's the truth: your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. And every time you felt afraid, rejected, or unseen, that emotion didn't disappear. It got stored in your nervous system. So when you go and try to take what you think is a big action, to post a video, to raise your prices, to share your story, your body doesn't respond to your goals. It's responding to your history, to your past. And this is why mindset work is not enough. You can affirm, visualize, and journal all day long, but if your body believes visibility equals danger, it's going to shut you down every time. Real freedom comes from alignment. When your unconscious mind and your body are finally on the same team. All the therapy and all the mindset work I did left out that component, the body. Transformation isn't just mental, it's physiological. Imagine you go out in life and you're running out there and you have a dream to get married and have a relationship. So here you go and you find your dream girl and you date for 2 months and you're in love with her. But all of a sudden she breaks your heart. She leaves you for somebody else. And then you go throughout life looking for another girl because you really want a family. And you go out and you see, oh, well, here's a blonde-haired girl. She reminds me of my old girlfriend. Can't go to her. Or you see somebody who's driving a BMW. I won't have her. All of these are triggers throughout your life that you're avoiding because of a past pain. And that past pain that you had, you decided something about that pain. And as you went throughout life, you kept drawing up that past pain. And as you did, now you were making the story bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's this huge story that you think you can't get past. All those triggers are your body's warning system firing off automatically. That's a trigger. Now, most people think about a trigger as an event, a video or a comment or some kind of rejection that they felt, but that's not it. The real trigger is a reaction inside your body. That knot in your stomach, that rush in your chest, a tightness in your jaw. The real trigger is inside you, not on the outside. The trigger is your nervous system's survival wiring kicking in before your conscious mind even has time to think. When someone's out there trying to reach that goal, that same wiring is firing off. Your body's reacting, you're tightening, you're bracing, you're resisting, long before your brain even knows what's going on. In fact, your brain doesn't know why it's happening, but your brain will start searching for reasons why you feel that way. So the original thought didn't start with what happened. It started with the story you're telling about what happens. And that's why you can know exactly what you need to do in your business and you still freeze and procrastinate. Your body is not responding to your goal. It's responding to your past. When we think about a trigger happening to us, imagine it's a stone being thrown into a pool of water, and it creates these ripples. And these ripples are going throughout your body before your brain even knows. It's telling your body to react. The thing about these triggers, most of us don't even realize they're happening. They're happening dozens of times a day, shaping the way that we think, the way that we react, and the way that we respond, especially when we're reaching towards our success. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just running an outdated, old program code that some juvenile wrote. Now imagine trying to start a business inside of this system that's designed to keep us triggered. Think about social media. Social media isn't built to show you what's true or healthy. It's built to keep you hooked, to keep you scrolling. And the fastest way to hook a human nervous system is to hijack your triggers. Here's how it works. The instant reaction wins. Outrage travels faster than reflection. So if you can upset somebody, you've created a trigger. You've got them engaged the fastest way possible. Negativity gets boosted. Your brain is wired for threats, and the algorithm knows that. Conflict pays off. The more that we argue, the more that we stay online and making comments, the more that they profit. And finally, your dopamine keeps you scrolling. Even negative attention gives your brain a hit. So if you already fear being seen, this system is brutal. Posting can feel like you're walking into an ambush. But here's the good news. Once you understand how the game works, you don't have to play it. You can show up differently, grounded, clear, aligned. You can create curiosity instead of conflict, connection instead of comparison, and impact instead of outrage. When you stop reacting from your triggers and start responding from alignment, your energy becomes the safest place in the digital world. So, how do you take back control of your nervous system and rewire those hidden patterns? That's where alignment comes in. Because once you learn to regulate your body and reprogram your unconscious mind, remove those triggers and stop reacting, you start leading, you start interacting, you start creating relationships of trust and build a bond. And that's exactly what my process, the visibility alignment method, was created to do. The visibility alignment that I developed focuses on 5 different steps, and it helps you uncover what's really running the show behind the scenes and align your mind, body, and identity so that visibility seems safe and natural. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to expose the hidden patterns that are running you. We uncover the unconscious beliefs and blocks that are stored in your body, the beliefs and the emotional triggers that are keeping you stuck in procrastination, overwhelm, perfection, and self sabotage. Think about my example. I was working on trying to take a photo, but the truth behind it was that I'm alone. That was the real hidden pattern. After we discover that pattern, we start to clear away emotional resistance. We release all the trapped emotional charge using somatic tools, tools that I learned from Tyler Watson. A 15-second process of tapping, breath work, and alignment. So the body lets go of that trigger. The body lets go of that old story. Once we've done that, we start to align your identity with your future self. Once the old code is cleared, your unconscious mind starts supporting you instead of sabotaging you. Once we do this, we can unlock consistent action. Consistency leads to success. You can do the wrong thing, but if you're doing it consistency, you can't help but be successful. With your nervous system aligned, action feels lighter and more natural. What used to take months can now shift in just days. And finally, we expand visibility and impact. This work helps show you that you are safe to be seen, not just online, but in life. That's why it's called visibility. Not just visibility on the outside, but the ability to be visible on the inside. When that happens, people don't see you, they start to feel you. They trust you because your energy is authentic, grounded, and aligned. Alignment doesn't force you forward, it frees you forward. Right now, we're living in a time of disconnection from ourselves, from each other, and even from the truth. And that's why this work is so much bigger than getting more clients or hitting more personal goals. This is about transformation. This is about reconnection to yourself, your power, and your humanity. It's about shifting from a reactive state to a responsive state, from being triggered to being free. And at its core, it's about reclaiming your choice, the freedom to show up as you truly are. But awareness without action changes nothing. You've heard my story. You've seen how triggers run the show. Now it's your turn to start to shift. And I want to help you experience this work for yourself. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're simply running an old code. And the moment you choose alignment over resistance, everything changes. That's the moment that you move from unseen to unstoppable.